And we're back. I'm Joe.
And I'm Kokoy.
Together we are...
TITOS with Ukuleles.
Hey, Koy, look what I have.
Okay, we are back to your favorite tenor from our Kentley Morales.
Yeah, so this is my Kentley Morales
the
tenor
Filipino uke maker.
Yeah. Now, I really want to rock out with this, and I'd like to hook it up to an amplifier.
So now you're going to be busking for more ukuleles?
Yeah. Anyway, but hey, there's no way I can jack in. So what are my options?
Yes, okay. Thank you for bringing this to me because for this episode, we'll be introducing you now to the different kinds of pickups that you can put on your ukulele. Because usually, when you buy a ukulele, normally it doesn't come with any kind of pickups so that it's easier to adjust to it. But in this case, what you have is something that we can actually play around with because sometimes you don't want to play around with a ukulele that's expensive and you want to test out what kind of pickups, right? So sometimes the pickups are going to be installed in your ukulele, some of the brands. If you notice that if you might not notice that there are actually two types at least of a built-in pickup for your ukulele. When I say built-in, it's something that it's not showing up in any part, so it's inside your ukulele. Okay. This is an acoustic instrument with nylon strings.
Yes.
So that means you can't use normal electric guitar pickups for this because those work on magnetic.
So we'd have to use what? Piezo?
Yes, it's called the Piezo Electrico. Well, it's a piezo. A piezo pickup is basically what you use on acoustic instruments because it's some sort of instrument, basically like a microphone for your instrument.
So where do you install it?
Now, a piezo is working upon pressure. So technically, a piezo should be put where the pressure lies, which is the saddles or under the saddle in the bridge.
You know, I think piezo is Italian for pressure.
Something like that. Now, to be able to pick up sound on an instrument like this, it's basically analog signals. That means that there should be a physical connection to the body of the instrument. So this is the best place is actually here by the bridge. It doesn't make sense to put it in the nut. So the bridge is where actually is the best place to put the piezo.
So do I put it beside the bridge or under the bridge?
To put a piezo, you have to put it under the bridge so that the pressure of the saddle rests on that pickup. So like I said, it is a microphone. It doesn't work directly on magnetic signals, but it converts that signal from the piezo or the pressure into a signal that your amplifier. So again, the important thing is you should have an amplifier for this.
Okay.
Now, many amplifiers are available, but that will be in another episode. In the meantime, one thing that you have to know about connecting a piezo to this is you have to ask yourself, do you want something that is powered or not powered? Because there are two types of piezo, the active or the passive.
Okay, I have one uke and a tenor, and it needs batteries. So that would be your active.
That is the active when you have to have batteries inside your piezo.
Yeah, then I have another uke. I just plug in the amp, no batteries needed. That would be passive.
Yes, that's the passive. So technically, pickup will consist of practically the most basic are two parts. The actual piezo, which is either a wire. This is a sample of what a wire piezo would look like. So technically, it is just a metal wire. It's basically a wound metal wire with some little wiring, smaller wirings on the inside, but technically this is just what picks it up. What happens is that the whole thing picks up everything. The whole length of the piezo wire is a line that picks up sound, so you have to install that carefully. The other type of piezo is the bar type, which we have over here. The bar type is a solid metal piece connected to the wire. But now, since the wire is connected to a separate part, you can put insulation. So normally, this is what I would usually recommend. However, the kit that we can have for you would be consisting already a set with the piezo wire and the plug. Okay. Now, when you're talking about passive piezo, it's just basically the wire goes straight to your amplifier, right? So to connect the piezo wire to your amplifier, the best way, of course, is to convert that to the socket, right? The regular big audio jack socket. And for that, this is basically what it looks like.
So, okay. That will go near at the butt, right?
Yes, that means we have to drill a hole in your ukulele.
So, right about there.
Yeah, so this butt plug, now this plug connects to the base of the ukulele, and when you connect this one, this actually acts like your strap button.
Okay.
So if this is actually a good 2-1. So when you buy something like this, usually they come in a set, but then you can buy them separately so that you can choose the type, whether you want the bar or the wire. Right. So the nice thing about a passive system is that there's really no need to fuzz. It's just basically the plug and the socket, and also the pickup, which is, those are just 2 parts you have to worry about.
Okay, I'm noticing something. So there seems to be like a female plug here.
Yes, this is the good set I got for you. Or if you choose to install this passive system, is that you can opt for a simpler no soldering system where you have a male jack on one end, a mini plug, a mono mini plug that connects straight to the socket. So it just becomes a one full wire. Now, when you connect this, it's just as simple as just installing this and plugging in. So the nice thing is that whenever you manage to replace your actual piezo wire, you can just keep the socket inside.
Okay, I got a question. So if it goes under the saddle like this one,
yes,
this would have to be the length of the saddle, more or less.
Yes, that is the reason why when you buy a set, make sure that you buy a set for a ukulele. If you're installing it on a ukulele, you make sure that the supplier labels it as ukulele, because a bar, you would have to have the actual size. Like normally they sell you generic for between the soprano and the but because the saddle is one whole straight line, normally you don't have to worry about in a bar situation where if it's shorter, the pressure will normally be equal throughout the saddle line.
So what about this? There's no bar.
Yeah, with a piezo system like this, there is no bar. In this case, this particular brand, what they did is they kind of flattened out the a big end of it, good enough to even on a baritone size, so that if you have any excess wire, you can just snip it off. Okay. Because the whole thing acts like I said, like an active wire. But don't misplace that with the active system. What I mean about active wire is that it picks up anything. So any movement, if this thing is shaking around, it will actually pick it up. So installation, careful installation could be a must.
Okay, here's the thing. So once it's here, I'd like at least to be able to adjust the volume from here without having to lean over to the amp.
Yes, okay, that's a good question, because an active pickup, technically, you don't have volume control. Sorry, a passive pickup, you don't have volume control, right? There are some passive systems with volume, but that only really decreases the already decreased volume amount. What you're saying is that you want a preamp. Now that is when you have to have battery powered. Preamp systems basically amplify the pickup of the passive and makes it into active.
Okay, I've seen videos and they install something, they cut in a huge hole here and install like a module, and so that's the preamp?
Yes, actually, like I said, if you have a passive with 2 parts, when you have an active system, now you would need a preamplifier, or preamp, to actually amplify the sound that's coming. So that is the battery powered type. And like you said, when you notice that your ukulele have boxes outside, there are actually more or less 2 types of active, which is one is that you put the preamp outside in a big box, or just a little small preamp in the sound hole itself where you can easily hide it.
So
Now, what I don't like about the preamp boxes is that once that breaks down, it's kind of hard to find the exact same one.
so there's a way to hide it without making a big hole.
That is what we're going to do. That is what I do suggest.
Okay.
Now,
so-
what you are now saying is that your option could be a active. That's what you want. You want something with a preamp. Now you're having an active with a sound hole preamp. Now that's the most basic way to describe it. An active pickup with a sound hole preamp. Of course, when you buy online, the only way to find the right one is to read the label properly. But sometimes they mislabel that. So how do you know which is which, right? The best bet is, of course, when it says preamp for ukulele, right? That means that it's supposed to be for the same size, because there are many different kinds of piezo, and sometimes you can get the wrong size.
Okay, let's say for example, I made a mistake and I bought something meant for a guitar. Like, how big could it be? Wouldn't it fit in here?
Well, okay, when when you're ordering, okay, you might find that there are two types. It will probably just be labeled piezo for acoustic guitar / ukulele. But you have to be careful because, for example, what I have here is the size for the acoustic guitar or classical guitar, where you have the controls over here and some sort of a preamp system over here.
So
Now, I don't know how you're gonna fit this into that small hole, but I doubt. So when you make a mistake like this, make sure that you have a return policy or you have an acoustic guitar. So what you have to order is exactly the size for the ukulele, which is quite smaller. How do you know? If you're usually looking for these kind of white ones, these are the third party. It comes with different brands, of course. The third party for acoustic usually have more effects. That's why it's also bigger. For this one particular one, it has a phase, so that just adds a little depth. When you see something like this, it's not for ukulele. Also, when you look at model numbers, but some don't print it out. Like this one says guitar A, so acoustic, whereas this one, it is clearly a small size.
hardly any room to print a label.
Yes. However, there are actually acoustic guitar piezos that have this small. So better watch out for those things.
So this is powered, right?
Now this is powered.
What
you
battery
have
does it
here,
use?
this particular model uses a button cell, CR2032, two of them. However, with some models, you may actually have to fit a 9-volt battery. Those are the things you find on those bigger preamps that are usually installed here. Sometimes you find the battery base over here. It depends. But that means you put too much holes that are irreversible. So if we're going to put anything here, I do suggest we will use the sound hole version.
Okay, here's a thought. You have a Kentley tenor ukulele, right?
Yes, okay. So before you install this one, we can try a practice run.
Yeah, on your
Alright.
ukulele.
On my ukulele, fine. Okay, so
You know, it's you before me.
yes, okay. So I will practice that one. Yes. So we will be installing now. For the viewers out there, we will be installing this particular kit, which you can find on your favorite app. Now, this is kind of hard to find these days because most people put in these piezos on your acoustic guitar. So make sure that if you do manage to find this particular type, I do suggest this one, the white one. Now, why? Because it doesn't claim to be fake. There are those out there. I'm not going to mention the brand, but when you see a branded piezo for less, that is not really official. Maybe it's an OEM or an original, or supposedly from the same factory. In some cases, they actually sound the same as the other ones, but branded ones might have special chips. This is not a good example because this is not a real branded one. But there are big brands, the ones that are expensive. Now piezos like this one would be like around sub $20, right? For the whole thing, the preamp, the socket, and the piezo wire. Now, if you buy a branded one, they might come with special boxes. They'll kind of look like this, but this is a different kind of system. Now, which has the chip, which usually have the special effects in this thing, this little big box. So those are the things you have to watch out for. Now, if you're on a budget and you have also a mid-range or a budget ukulele that you want to experiment on, I do suggest, again, what we're going to be installing is the active sound hole. We will use the wire that comes with the kit because you can always upgrade it. Because the nice thing about this kit is that the piezo just attaches with a standard, like I said, mini plug into the preamp, and that's it. That you're good to go. You just have to install it.
So later on, I can change this to like a bar type.
Yes, again, this little preamp can take the bar type because that's how they made it, so that in other brands they do supply you with bar types or other features. Another curious feature for other brands is that you might hear about these supposedly sound hole microphones, right? So this is an example of a piezo with a sound hole microphone. That means you can actually blend the sound from the piezo, which is on the saddle. Because normally when you put something like this on a saddle, it will sound very like treble, because the science of it is just, it's resting on a very fine, saddle made of bone or plastic. And what's a better way of recording is to actually record the sound that's coming from the sound hole, which some piezos might have. Like this one has a microphone, which you can blend. And that's how they actually get the special effects like phase, because what it's doing is kind of looping it. But again, this particular one is not for ukulele. However, for some brands that you might find in your region, you might actually have sound hole pickups on a little small ukulele.
Okay, so shall we get to installing?
Okay, fine. Let me put a hole in my own ukulele. So, okay, we will now move up to the how to install a piezo to your ukulele with a special segment. Let's move up to our special segment on how to install your piezo ukulele.
Here we go.